excited to have Lily Covio-Calzada. She is the director of the Advising and Counseling Center at Tarrant County College Northwest Campus. One of the things that we have found is that we need to do a better job, I think, of taking care of ourselves, especially in this difficult time. And so we thought that this would be an important topic for today's Lunch and Learn. So I will be monitoring the group chat. If you have any questions as we go through the presentation, please post them in the group chat, and then we will have time at the end to be able to have her address those questions. We are going to turn off the video so that you'll be able to focus on the presentation. And then we'll turn our video back on for the Q&A time so that we'll be able to see each other. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Lily.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Dr. Hubbard, and sharing what I know about self-care, and I look forward to sharing with everyone. I hope everyone had a nice, restful weekend, and hopefully you got to spend some time with your family, maybe digitally or at least with physical distancing. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much. So today I'm going to share a little bit about what I know about self-care. It's extremely important that we take care of ourselves during this time. The situation that most of us right now, of course, you know, is having to shelter in place because of COVID-19. And so I'm going to share with you some ideas that I've researched and some techniques that I've practiced while I've had to shelter in place. So I hope that you will find them helpful today. So let's talk about, and most of us know what is stress, okay? How do we define stress? So according to Merriam's dictionary, stress is a state of mental tension and worry that's caused by problems in your life. Now, Merriam-Webster's says problems, but we're focusing on two categories. So I have changed the word problems to events, the way that you'll see it up in your screen, because the two categories of stress that we're going to be talking about, excuse me, are distress, which is negative stress, and then eustress, which is positive stress. So the negative stress could be maybe, you know, something negative going on in our lives, maybe like the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job. Eustress is positive, which is due to, of course, positive events in our lives, maybe like getting a new job, moving to a new house, or maybe getting married. Although, you know, maybe there's some of us out there who would categorize getting married under distress instead of eustress. So in responding to stress, there are several ways in which we do this. For the most part, stress will impact our minds first, and the reaction is usually emotional when that happens. So the emotional reactions can be negative or they can be positive, depending on you and the things that are going on around you. And of course, right now with the coronavirus being a part of our everyday lives, some of us may be experiencing the negative reactions. Emotionally, we may feel anxiousness, nervousness, or maybe just be jittery, okay? Perhaps we may feel depressed. However, in some cases, stress will push us into what is termed increased positivity. So increased positivity may manifest itself by increased focus on the solutions to the problem instead of focusing on the problems itself. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Behaviorally speaking, folks might increase their intake of alcohol or smoke more. They may act out or blame others. Additionally, they may not be sleeping, or maybe just the opposite, and they're sleeping too much. The same applies to food. Sometimes we might eat too much in order to cope with stress, or sometimes we may not eat enough. In some cases, our response to stress may take on a physical form and affect our bodies. We might get headaches, muscle aches, or any kind of body ache. We could also have an increase in our blood pressures, affecting our breathing and maybe even affecting our heart. So since stress usually influences our mind first, and sometimes in a negative way, we will focus on how to combat that aspect and focus on increased positivity. So to start us off, I want to talk a little bit about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, so some of you may know Abraham Maslow. He was born in 1908 from New York, and he died in 1970 at the age of 62. He was his alma mater is University of Wisconsin-Madison, and he's best known for his hierarchy of needs. And so his theory is the human needs that you'll see up on the screen. So, and some of us had this in our intro to psych class. So for some of you, it's going to be just a review. But this is important in the way that I'm going to tie it into being positive during this time. Excuse me. So at the bottom of the hierarchy, we have the basic needs or the physiological needs. And these are just very common, their needs are very basic to our existence. We need to breathe, we need food, we need water, we need to sleep, very, very basic to our existence. The next level is the safety needs, security, order, and stability. So these are important to the physical survival of the person, okay? Once we have our basic nutrition and then our shelter and safety, then we have a tendency to complete more. So we get through the physiological and the safety needs. Again, our safety is the security, making sure we have a place to sleep, making sure we have transportation, making sure that we have clothes to wear and things like that. The third level is love and belonging. And these are the psychological needs, okay? When individuals have taken care of themselves physically, then they're ready to share themselves with others, okay? With family and friends. This is the love and belonging. Do I feel like I'm a part of a group, either at church or at work? How am I in my relationships, okay? And in my friendships. The fourth level is achieved when individuals feel comfortable with what they have accomplished. And this is the self-esteem need, or the esteem level. And they need to be competent and recognized, such as through maybe status, job status, or the level of success that they have achieved. This is where we have our confidence, okay? We respect others and we get their respect as well, okay? Before we go into the self-actualization that's not on your pyramid here, is a couple of other levels that are the cognitive level, which is where individuals intellectually stimulate themselves and explore, and then the aesthetic level, which is a need for harmony, order, and beauty. Cognitive level, there is a need to know and a need to understand. The best way that I can explain that is like if I'm driving and maybe my husband is in the passenger seat and he says, pull over. And so sometimes a person can just pull over and they'll be fine. I need to know why. Why do you want me to pull over? So that's the cognitive, you know, having to need to know and need to understand. The aesthetic level, again, the need for harmony and order and beauty. And so when I go on a trip, I like to clean my house and I do all the laundry and I put it all away and then I pack, okay? And so while I'm putting away laundry, my husband might say, well, why are you putting that away if you're just gonna take it back out and pack it? Because for me, the order that I need is that everything is in its place so that when I pack, I know I'm not forgetting anything. So that's the aesthetic, okay? Then at the top of the pyramid is the need for self-actualization, which occurs when individuals reach a state of harmony and understanding. because they're engaged in achieving their full potential. So this is a state of mind that we fluctuate in and out of all the time, okay? In the morning when we wake up, we're hungry, so we're down at the bottom with the physiological needs, and maybe we need to eat food, right? So we have our breakfast, and then we work our way through the pyramid, and we get through self-actualization, which is where we really want to be functioning when we're at work, or when we're at school. Okay, and then right around lunchtime, we start to get hungry again, right? So we go back down the physiological, we need to eat, and then hopefully work our way back up. So if you'll see that self-actualization is a state of mind, and we fluctuate in and out all the time, every day. It's not something that we reach and then we're there forever. So it is a state of mind, okay? Once a person has reached the self-actualization, then they focus on themselves and they try to build their own image. They may look at this in terms of feelings such as self-confidence, because they have set a goal and they have accomplished the goal, okay? Again, it is a state of mind where we recreate ourselves, okay, to a self-actualized being. So I mentioned this because this is where we want to be in the self-actualized state of mind when we practice self-care, okay? So remember the hierarchy that I can practice self-care if I've already eaten, if I know where I'm going to sleep tonight, if I feel good in my relationships, I feel good about myself, and everything is taken care of, then I am able to concentrate on myself and my self-care. Okay, so let's talk about our feelings, okay? So try to think to yourself and ask yourself, what comes first, the feeling or the thought? Okay, do I feel sad because I'm having a thought that maybe I miss my son who's away at college? Okay, or do I first think that my son is away at college and then I feel sad? Okay, so which one comes first? What do you think? Think to yourselves, which comes first? Okay, it's kind of like asking, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? If you say the chicken, then the question is, well, where does the chicken come from? If the answer is the egg, then the question is, well, where does the egg come from? Okay, so it's kind of one of those things, but I do have a theory on how this works. So let's consider this, okay? The greatest power that a person has is the ability to choose the thoughts in your mind. Okay, just kind of think about that for a second. Your greatest power is the ability to choose the thoughts in your mind. Is it true? Do you think you believe this? Let's talk about it. Let's see if this works. So once we have, so think of an AC equation. Let me go back. So think of an AC equation where you have an activating event, which is what happened, and then you have a consequating feeling. So let's say that my son went away to college. Okay, that's the activating event. And so the consequating feeling now is I feel sad, because he went away to college, because I'm thinking that that's what happened, that he went away to college. Okay, so that's an AC equation. Okay, but the real equation is an ABC equation, which the activating event is that my son went away to college, but the B is what I think about him going away to college. Okay, and then the C is then feeling the sadness. Okay, so I'm feeling sad because of what I believe about him leaving to college. I believe that he's not, these are my thoughts, my belief process. He's not home. I don't get to see him every day. I wish he were here. Those are the thoughts that I'm having, okay, about him leaving, which is why I'm feeling sad, okay? But what if we were to turn that around a little bit, okay? What if I changed the B and then begin believing that maybe having thoughts like, He's independent. He is where he wants to be. He's having fun. He is getting a college education. And that's a big one, I thank God. And so now my consequating feeling is different. It is more positive. Now I am happy that he's away at college. So what doesn't change, what is constant, is the activating event. What happened? That he went away to college. That remains the same. But now how I feel about it, I'm happy. That's different because I changed the way that I thought about him leaving to college. So now instead of me saying that I miss him and that he's not around, which leads to sadness, now I'm saying to myself, he's happy, he's getting a college education, which is what we want. He is having fun. So now my consequating feeling is that I'm happy, okay? So that's a little bit simplified, but it has the same concept. So what I'm saying is that what's going to happen out there in the world is going to happen. The activating event, is going to happen. That's not within our control, okay? What we believe about what happened then is going to then dictate how we feel about it, okay? So in the equation, what comes first, thoughts or feelings? I'm proposing that thoughts come first, and then they then create the feeling, okay? So then in order for us to practice self-care, then how do we want to feel, right? We want to feel good, we want to feel positive, we want to feel calm, we want to feel peaceful. So then the activating event is going to be that we are sheltering in place, that COVID-19 is among us, okay? But what we believe about the sheltering in place then is going to be what's going to help us be practice self-care, okay? So we're going to have to find ways and that we can put into the B that are good and positive in order so that we can self-care during COVID-19. So I'm hoping that's making some sense. So let's continue on. So how are we going to do that, okay? So that's the question. So how do we choose our thoughts then, okay? Because remember, I've already proposed to you that we have the ability to choose our thoughts, okay? We choose them through positive affirmations, okay? Positive affirmations are, it's a thought or idea. It's a very simple, powerful technique, okay? Now, we sometimes we let our thoughts run away from us, okay? And we, that's probably, maybe some people call that daydreaming, okay? But then we're able to bring ourselves back, okay? So that, in essence, is proof that we are able to choose our thoughts, is that they kind of got away from us, but then we told ourselves, okay, stop the daydreaming. We have to go back and do, and focus on what's going on right now, okay? So that is the way that I know that we choose our thoughts, okay? So let's talk a little bit about positive affirmations then. Oops, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so 4 tips for creating positive affirmations. First, we want to keep the affirmations positive, okay? Saying that I am or I will, I am happy, okay? So the reason that we want to do the affirmation positive is because if we do maybe in the negative, then that kind of gets us confused. For example, right now I want you to, let me see, close your eyes just while you're sitting there. Close your eyes for a little bit and just imagine, okay, just for a brief second, I want you to see a blue sky, you know, maybe some clouds, maybe some some birds, okay? Do not see a big pink elephant. Do not see a big pink elephant. Okay, you can open your eyes now. The question is now, did you see a pink elephant? Okay, some of you might have seen a pink elephant. Some of you might not have seen a pink elephant. Of course, didn't help that I put a pink elephant right before this slide here, okay? But if in this exercise I had not mentioned the pink elephant, would you have known to see it? Okay, if I would have just kept saying, I want you to picture the blue sky, I want you to picture the birds, and then nothing about a pink elephant, you probably would not have seen the pink elephant. But because I said, don't see the pink elephant was there. Normally, we take out the word don't. When you tell a child, don't jump on the bed, what's the first thing they do? They jump on the bed. Okay, what do we really want them to do? We want them to sit down. So that's what we have to tell them. We want them to sit down. So our mind works the same way. If we don't want to be thinking negative thoughts, and we have to be thinking positive thoughts. If we tell same thing when we go on a diet, okay, I can't have cake, I can't have Coke, I can't have this or that. Our minds are not interested in what we can't have. It helps us more to know what we can have, okay? So that's the thing about a positive affirmation and keeping it positive, okay? Keeping it in the present tense, okay? That I will do this, I am doing this now. I am calm, I am confident. I will share those with you in just a little bit, okay? Short and to the point, okay? And let me see, so I'm gonna put this up there, but that does not apply to this. Okay, good. So when you're doing your positive affirmations, choose the correct word, okay? Choose I versus you. When we choose I, we own the affirmation and we own what it is that we're wanting to accomplish, okay? Using the word will versus can, okay? I will be happy today. I will stay calm today, okay? Want versus should. And we'll talk about should in a little bit when we talk about cognitive distortions, okay? But instead of saying, I should go on a diet, I would say, I want to go on a diet, or I should be peaceful. I want to be peaceful, okay? Much more powerful, and we can own those. And do versus try, okay? So, I am calm, I am confident. Those are the two that I use over and over again as my positive affirmations, and they are really the start of anything else that I want to add to it, okay? But if I know that I am calm and I am confident, then I can do whatever it is that comes after that, okay? So you may want to have your own version of how you start your positive affirmations, okay? But let's say that I wanted to, like I was feeling a little bit nervous before this presentation, okay? So my positive affirmation was, you know, I am calm, I am confident, and I will deliver a presentation that will be helpful to people. Okay, and so that's a positive affirmation for me. Again, in the positive affirmations, we want to stay positive. Instead of saying, I will not fail that test. Ooh, there's that word fail, and we get nervous, okay? We say, I will pass that test, okay? Let's go back to the pink elephant. If you saw the pink elephant, because I suggested it, then that was, again, you know, even though I said don't do it, some of you saw it. If you didn't see the pink elephant, then probably what you were doing is you were fighting me. You were just maybe in your head over and over, just repeating to yourself clouds and birds and blue sky, so that you would not have that pink elephant thought in your head, okay? So you had to exert more mental energy, if you will, so that you would not see the pink elephant, when it would be so much easier if I had just not said anything about a pink elephant. So we don't want to have extra mental energy expended on trying to fight the, I'm not nervous, you know, I'm not worried, instead of just saying to ourselves, I'm calm, I am at peace, I am happy, you know, things like that. Okay. Okay, so twisted thinking or cognitive distortions, these come from David Burns. And David Burns is, he's actually a medical doctor. And I got to study under him many years ago. But he's got 10 forms of twisted thinking or cognitive distortions that he talks about. And these are the things that, in my mind, I say they get us in trouble when we're trying to do positive affirmations or we're trying to stay positive, okay? They're forms of irrational thinking, okay? The first one is the all or nothing. You see things in black and white, okay? I've blown my diet, I may as well, you know, I had a piece of, you know, cake, I may as well eat the whole thing, right? You know, one of the things that I do is I say, it's like, you can't be a little bit pregnant. Okay, either you are or you're not. That's black and white. So when I have thoughts like that, that's a distortion. It's a cognitive distortion because it is not, it's not all or nothing. Okay, there is some in between. Okay, overgeneralization, seeing things negatively, maybe saying always and never. Okay, those are the overgeneralizations because we know that always and never are not true, always, okay? Sometimes I may do things, but I don't always do those. But those can get in the way of us having our positive affirmations, okay? The mental filters is that you pick out a single negative detail and we dwell on it instead of trying to see the 100 other good things that we did, okay? It's almost like if you were to put a drop of ink in some water, it discolors the whole water, okay? So you receive many positive comments about a presentation, but then one of them says something, maybe one person says something that was not nice, and then that's what we dwell on, okay? Those are the mental filters. Okay, discounting the positive, rejecting a positive experience. Maybe like someone will say, I really like your hair today, and or I really like that suit that you're wearing. You might say, oh, this is a hand-me-down, or I bought it at the, you know, at the discount store, or this is my, I didn't have time to blow dry my hair look, okay? So we discount the positive. That's another form of cognitive distortions. Okay, now while I'm talking about these, try to think to yourself, you know, do I do any of these? You know, I do these a lot, not always, because remember that's a cognitive distortion, you know, but I do them plenty of times that I have to catch myself and say, okay, Lily, it's time to stop and think about what we're doing here, okay? Jumping to conclusions, mind reading and fortune telling, those are my favorite. I do those real good, you know. I can always tell when someone's going to say something, right? Or I know what they're thinking, you know. But if you ask me to bet my paycheck on it, I wouldn't, because I really don't, okay? But that is a form of twisted thinking. Irrational thinking is the jumping to conclusions, which includes mind reading and fortune telling, okay? Magnification. This is making maybe like a mountain out of a molehill, okay? Or minimizing something that is important, you know? If my son gets a paper cut, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to go to the hospital and get stitches because I have a paper cut, I'm gonna die, right? Okay, no, that's magnifying. Minimization, on the other hand, is, you know, where he gets maybe like a big gash, you know, on his arm, and I say, okay, I think we need to go to the hospital, and he'll say, it's just a little cut, it's no big deal, okay? So magnification also includes minimization. Emotional reasoning. This is that you assume a negative emotions. It's just trying to rationalize, basically, the reason. Like if I'm afraid to fly, but I don't want to say, then I'll go around saying flying it's not safe. It's not safe to fly, okay? Because I'm trying to give that trying to be rational about that. Should statements. Okay, let's talk about that. So should statements, really all they're good for is producing guilt, because I say to myself, I should go on a diet. and then I don't, so I feel guilty, right? So then I want to replace the word should, like I said previously, with the word want. I want to go on a diet, okay? Well, if I were to say that statement, I want to go on a diet, I don't really want to go on a diet. That's not true. So I'm just like gonna let it go and decide, okay, no, I'm not gonna do that, okay? So we should on ourselves a lot, and we should on other people a lot, okay? So we want to not should on others and not should on ourselves, okay? The way we should on others is when we say they should this, this, or that, okay? The only thing that they should, or the only thing that we should, is exactly what it is that we're doing, okay? Labeling. This is something like, maybe if I took a test and I failed it, then I might call myself a failure, okay? Well, this is not true. Again, it's a cognitive distortion. I failed a test, but that does not make me a failure. I've done a lot of dumb things, but that doesn't make me a dumb person. I just made mistakes in the choices that I've made, okay? So we need to be real careful with labeling. Children are not bad children. They just behave in a bad way, okay? Personalization and blame. So the personalization and blame is that we, either somebody blames us, or we personalize whatever's going on out there, that, that it is my fault that this or that happened, okay? Or it is that person's fault that this or that happened, okay? And those are, again, forms of twisted thinking or cognitive distortions, okay? So these are some things that might be going on with you, okay? So we will try to combat those here as we go. Okay, so let's talk about taking charge now. So when we are in a situation that we don't like, and now we're going to try to apply everything that we've learned, okay? Or everything that I've talked about. When we're in a situation that we don't like, okay, there are basically 4 choices, okay? So let's talk about the choice that my son is away at college, for example, okay? So the first thing is that I can get out of the situation, okay? So let's assess that one. Can I really get out of the situation with the fact that my son is in college? No, that's no. I can bring him back home, but really I don't want that to be an option for me, because I want him to be in college, okay? Change the situation. Again, bring him back home to me so that I don't miss him, but that's not an option for me either, okay? Stay in the situation and be miserable. That is always a choice, okay? Choosing to do nothing is choosing, okay? I do not want to stay in the situation and be missing him all the time, okay? So then my last choice is going to be change the way I feel about the situation by changing the way that I think about the situation, okay? And we're going to change the way we think, again, through the positive affirmations, okay? So let's talk a little bit now about how we can use all this to deal with, you know, the COVID-19, with what's going on, okay? So Dr. Jennifer Aylshire, she's Associate Professor of Gerontology at the University of Southern California, and I saw this interview with her, and she talks about how about redefining social distancing, okay? Because we've all been told we need to social distance, right? Okay, so social distancing, you know, what she's saying is that it can lead to feelings of isolation, okay? Especially in the older folks, okay? And so what she's saying is, let's call this physical distancing, but however, so staying socially connected, okay? So I really like the way that she framed that, so I wanted to share that with you as one of those techniques and ways that I'm using during this stay at home and shelter in place period that we're going through, is that that I am keeping physical distancing, okay, and that creates safety, but I'm also still keeping the social connections, okay? The connections that we're noticing, you know, like in my job, is that students are actually answering the phone when you call them, where before they were not answering the phone. So we all know that we need that connection, okay? Some of them are even doing the videos because we need to see other people. We need to see and not have those feelings of isolation, okay? So 10 things that you can do to show love for yourself and do care. Smile more often and laugh more. In my particular home life, my husband works nights, and so he's home during the day. And then my 18-year-old daughter, who is a senior in high school, is home and doing her schooling, okay? But once in a while, it might be like, let's say 2:25 in the afternoon, and I have a 2:30 meeting. I'll go out of my my little office area that I have, and I'll go and I'll sit and I'll talk to her, and she'll show me maybe like a 30-second TikTok video, and that makes me laugh and it makes me smile. Excuse me. And so I would not otherwise get that during the day if I were at home. So I'm taking advantage of being here with her and just taking that 1 minute, and it is amazing at how much rejuvenation can occur with just that connection, okay? Or maybe sending a text message if there's no one else in the house with you, or setting up some funny, 20-second or 30-second videos that you can watch that will bring you that smile and help you laugh more often, okay? Excuse me. Do what's best for you. There are so many things going on out there, but in order for us to take care of others, if we're working in higher ed, then that means that we've got other, and not just higher ed, but in education. That means that we're basically providing a service of some sort, and we're taking care of others, but we really need to take care of ourselves first, okay? And if I'm feeling good, then I'm feeling okay to be able to help someone else, okay? Treat yourself once in a while. That is okay to, take that 5-minute break in the middle of your day to either call someone or text someone or visit with someone who's in your home that they're sheltering in place also, okay? Say no. Oh my gosh, that's one of the ones that I have the hardest time is saying no. But sometimes we just have to say no. We have to really think about, is this something that I'm able to do? Okay, and sometimes we just have to say no. I know that's difficult, but I have a hard time with that. And then after you say no and we feel guilty, then we have to forgive ourselves too, okay? It's very important to forgive ourselves. Listen more. Make your home your sanctuary. If you have some part of the house where you can have your she shed or your man cave where no one else can come in, and you say, okay, while we're home, this is my area, this is where I want to be, and no one can come in here. I know that's hard, but still, you want to make it your sanctuary, okay? Because right now, this is where we're having to be, okay? Practice positive self-talk, and we've talked about that with your positive affirmations. Prioritize sleep. That's really, really important to get the rest that we need, and to meditate as well. So the things that you can do for yourself is change your passwords and make them into positive, okay? And so, for example, maybe like on one of your, because they said you're not supposed to keep the same password, right? But we have so many accounts, but on each account, something that'll help you remember that, like maybe today I'm going to be awesome. That can be a password, okay? So just change them so that you are using positive affirmations for your passwords. Give yourself a massage, okay? Just you know, rub yourself on the neck, on your shoulders, your legs. You really can accomplish this for yourself, okay? Make sure that you're exercising daily, okay? And these are things that we know, but sometimes we don't do, okay? And so again, why aren't we doing these things? Let's go back to, what are we thinking about when we decide not to exercise? Are we thinking, no, it's too hot, or I just don't want to change, or whatever it is that we're thinking? Remember then that we have to then change that thought so that we can get to the place where we are then exercising, you know, daily. Okay. So, and even if it's little things, you know, but whatever works for you, I'll tell you what works for me. A little bit, too much of a self-disclosure here, but so I live in a 2-story house. And so, you know, my daughter's having to do work from school, and even though my husband works nights, he's still sheltering in place. So he's working at night, right? So I'm set up in one room, and he's set up in another room, and my daughter's set up in another room. And so we all have, there's 2 or 3 printers around the house. And so we're trying to connect the printers to the computers. Well, the way that I was able to set it up, and I've got it working, so I don't want to mess with it. I'm upstairs, but for some reason, my printing is happening downstairs, okay? And so whenever I print something, I have to go downstairs and then come back upstairs. But I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to turn that around and make it a positive and say, that's my exercise, is going up and down the stairs. Same thing for my husband. He's set up downstairs, but for some reason, he's printing upstairs. And it might take us a whole Saturday to try to figure that out. I'm afraid to move the printers, because right now, at least they're working, right? I'm afraid that if I disconnect them and move them, that they won't work anymore. But so that's part of his exercises. He has to come upstairs to get his papers whenever he prints. So, you know, hey, making, what do we say? Making lemonades out of lemon, right? Out of lemons. Okay. The other thing is, talk about what's going on, okay? Some of us are not wanting to talk about COVID and what's happening, because it does cause the anxiety and the jitters, and you know, but we need to stay informed, okay? We need to stay on top of it. We need to stay in the know, okay? And then make sure that you get the facts. For me, I don't watch the news, but that's what works for me, okay? If it works for you to watch the news, then watch the news, okay? I get my information, this is from me, from the CDC website, because that's where I want to go. There's so many things out there that cause me anxiety, and so I have to put a stop to that. But that's me. If you're okay with it, then you know you're the only one who can measure, you know, your own, okay? And you can take care of yourself, okay? Trust your instincts, okay? If something doesn't feel right, it's like, no, you know, I don't think so. I know that I decided that even though there's fast food places that are open, and as much as I want to support them, I just really don't think that I want to go out there and put not just myself at risk, but anybody else at risk, okay? Because remember, we all know that we may be carrying it, but we may not get sick, okay? So, but trust your instincts, okay? And then, of course, stay safe. Okay, again, your greatest power is the ability to choose the thoughts in your mind. So how we stay safe and sane during this COVID-19 is, you know, to have those positive thoughts that we can control in our minds. Okay, so I'll open it up now to questions and see if anybody has any questions.
Thank you so much, Lily. I appreciate your presentation. I don't have any questions in the group chat yet, but I have a few questions, so I'm going to start it off.
Okay.
I think for many people, the activating event that we're dealing with is actually indeterminacy. It's that we don't know. We don't know how long this will last. We don't know what our jobs will look like afterwards. We don't know when we can get back to normal, what normal is going to look like. And so do you have some strategies that can help support positive self-talk and affirmations when you don't know?
Yes, thank you. So the biggest fear that we have as human beings, I believe, is that which we don't know. Okay, as human beings, if there is a problem and we don't know, then we have a tendency to create an answer. Okay, very similar to why maybe a person will not leave an abusive relationship. Let's talk about that, okay? Because while they're in an abusive relationship, they know that they will heal from whatever physical ailments might come. They know where they are going to sleep tonight, okay? They know where they're going to get their next meal, okay? If they leave the abusive relationship, they may not know where they're going to sleep tonight. They may not know where they're going to get their next meal. That's why they stay, because they don't know, okay? So that is the fear that we're dealing with. So what is the best way to do that? The best way is to make it known, okay? To talk about it and to go through scenarios of, well, what were to happen if this were going to go, let's say, through the summer, okay? So talk about with those that are a part of your lives, and how is that going to look, okay? And what would happen if I did have to continue working home from summer, okay? So again, talking about it and discussing it and making it known, and providing scenarios, okay, and providing some solutions and some alternatives as to what might happen, okay, that could help ease our minds, okay. Another thing to take into consideration is that sometimes we don't have an answer, and so we can ourselves decide that that's okay that we don't have an answer, okay. Because sometimes these things are out of our control, okay, and so we don't know, and so we have to be okay with the we don't know for now. And we're going to try and get answers, but for now, I have to make up my mind, you know, and think about the positiveness so that I'm okay with not knowing, okay? So trying to get out there and talk about it and try to come up with a plan, okay? You know, if we're here through June, then this is our plan. If we're here through July, then this is our plan, okay? Just so that we have at least, we'll be ready mentally, emotionally, because we don't know how long it's going to last.
All right, we have a question from Kim, who said, I read an article that suggested that we may actually be feeling grief because of this sudden change and the things we've lost, social interactions, our careers as we've known them, and so on. What do you think of this idea, and how might it help us to validate our feelings?
I think it's very, very valid, you know, because when we talk about grief, it is a loss, okay? Most of us think of it as a loss, you know, maybe as in somebody has passed away, okay? But it is a loss in our way of life. It's a loss in life as we know it, okay? And so the way to deal with the grief then is to talk about it, you know, with someone. And I'm hoping that we all have resources with our jobs, you know, where we can hopefully if there's any administrators in the audience, that we are allowing our folks to maybe once a week for about an hour or so to be able to, during working hours, to talk about what it is that we've lost, okay, and how are we feeling about it, because again, it may not change the situation, but being able to talk about it and being able to have someone validate our feelings about it, and having someone say yes, because remember that that anxiety and being in stress is a reaction to a very abnormal situation. And we are in a very abnormal situation here. Okay, this has not happened before. And so it's okay to feel this way. Okay, so we're needing to, make sure that we're talking about it with our employees and with our coworkers and say, it's okay that we're feeling this way. And let's talk as a counselor, talking about it is just a huge, huge help. And so hopefully you're being provided opportunity to do that, to just vent, and it has to be part of the process, in a job where, when I meet with my employees, I dedicate the first, 10 or 15 minutes without an agenda and just say, okay, so how's it going? Let's just talk about whatever, whatever's on your mind. We're not talking about projects. We're not talking about deadlines or anything. This is, what's going on with you? How is that working? And so hopefully if we're able to do that with each other, with our colleagues, and then hopefully if our supervisors can allow that opportunity as well, that would be really great.
And I think that's a great point that you made, Lily, because we're in positions where we're working with colleagues. You may be supervising people, or you may be working under a supervisor, and then we're also working to support students. Mm-hmm. And so how can we take what we've learned from you today on self-care and actually model that for the other people that we interact with? Because we know that everything that we're going through, our colleagues are going through, our students are going through, and that each person's home environment is different. For some people, being at home means being constantly surrounded by a dysfunctional environment, right? Yes, yes. Or it may be that some people are struggling with, adequate food and even the ability to use technology to communicate or to get their work done. So what can we do to help encourage self-care in others too?
Well, you said a very key word, okay? And the word that you said was model, okay? That's very important in the traditions for Alcoholics Anonymous. Tradition 11, let's see if I can say it without having to look it up, is our public relations policy is based on based on attraction rather than promotion, okay? So what that means is that they are not out there saying, hey, we're Alcoholics Anonymous, come join us, okay? What they're doing is that they're modeling a behavior, okay? And people are seeing that, and people are being attracted to them by this behavior that they have, okay? So we all know, especially, with our students and our young ones, is that, if I see my child, exhibiting a behavior, I've got to know that they picked it up from somewhere, okay? And they probably picked it up from me, okay? So our children, if we are school educators in the public schools, then we may be their only safe haven, during the day that they come in contact with. So we want to model, that confidence and that safety, so that then they can feel it as well, okay? We can also tell them, but it's hard because we're not in that household with them, we're not with them all the other hours of the day. We can try to give them resources. I know that there's a lot of school districts that were still handing out meals, okay? But the modeling and the being there and allowing them to talk and allowing them, just like we would allow our colleagues to share, what is it that they're feeling, and validating those feelings. That's the most important thing, is to validate what it is that they're experiencing, because just someone hearing me out is enough a lot of times, because I know there's nothing anybody else can do, but just hear me and listen to me and validate what I'm saying, okay? It could be so powerful, and I would encourage us to do that, with each other, with our colleagues, with our employees, with our supervisors even, and with our students as well.
So Lily, we had a comment from Marge who said that yes, she's especially seeing struggles in community colleges that have limited access to technology. You know, some of our colleges already did a great deal of e-learning, and others were more face-to-face in terms of the way that they deliver things. And so it's been a more significant change for some of us than it has been for others. And some may not even have the capability to quickly pivot into, you know, a whole different model. And so do you have any recommendations for how we can support each other in the face of those kinds of things? Because in this case, the activating event may be, we have to use technology. We don't have access to technology.
Right.
Then what?
Right. Well, so there are, you know, this is where supervisors are going to have to come into play and to be understanding. And so there's always going to be situations where hopefully if we work in, you know, in a large area that there are some times when we're not going to be able to put in our 100%, okay? So we have to have those relationships, and we have to have that that support, okay, from our administration and from our colleagues, in that if I'm not able to, it's like if I call in sick, okay, then if I call in sick, then I know I have colleagues that are going to pick up my slack for that day, okay. And then I'm feeling well the next day, and then maybe my colleague is not feeling well and they call in sick, so I'm going to pick up their slack, okay. So we all have our contributions, and sometimes because of circumstances, you know, we're not able to contribute our 100%. So I would ask that we help each other out in that way, okay. We also, as supervisors, can perhaps do other alternative means, okay, of delivering services. Perhaps, you know, because I have employees that live out that maybe internet is not as strong as there are in other areas, okay? And so for the time being, they're working on different things or different methods of contacting students instead of meeting them face to face, okay? So so it's a conversation with supervisors, but it's understanding, the supervisors having to understand exactly what, you know, what the needs are and what is this person capable of, and hopefully that, you know, that can help alleviate some of the anxieties that we're feeling if you know, we're not able to do our jobs because of the technology. And everybody's having problems with technology even more now because now everybody's online. Okay, some of the things that we learned was that, for example, now all day, I'm online, my daughter's online, my husband's online, and so the internet that we have here has its limits too, you know, and so it's just hopefully getting people to understand and then stepping in to help each other out.
All right, well, Lily, thank you so much for spending this hour with us. There's been lots of positive feedback in the chat, thanking you for the presentation and saying they're going to be using these strategies and sharing them with their students. I want to mention to everyone that we are doing these every Monday, and that next Monday we have Tissely Medley, who is going to talk about students at risk and tips for educators on how to support their students. And so I hope you'll spend another Monday with us and have lunch. Y'all who know me know that I'm a Diet Coke person, so see, I've been having my Diet Coke and Learn. Also, I've put materials up on our website. This presentation will be on the website. The video will be on the website, so you can view it again, share it with others. But also, I have another section that is dedicated to COVID-19 resources. And so I've got a graphic with some tips to take care of yourself when you're working from home, and then also some materials that are a guide for employees in terms of working from home, but then also for administrators and how to support employees who are working from home. So I just wanted to point you to those resources as well. And with that, let's all go back to work. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, everyone. Remember, physical distancing, but social connections. Stay home, stay safe, and stay positive.
Thank you.